let's take a look at how to find a t-shirt designer for your brand on Fiverr. So the first thing you want to do is go to the Fiverr homepage, and you're going to be greeted with this big search box and a couple of little buttons here that let you explore the marketplace. So since we're trying to make a t-shirt today, you could either type that in here and search for it, or what I like to do is just go to the actual category. So I'm going to go to graphics and design and just click on that, and it's going to show me all the different services that their designers and creative people offer. I'm just going to scroll down to where it says t-shirts, because that's what we're interested in today. You're going to see this barrage of different offers. So all these are different designers. Some of them are groups of designers working together. And as you can see, there are a ton of different options and a lot of different pages of different options. So it's just kind of endless. So one of the things that you want to start off doing is looking at the designs. So they tend to put just a group of different previous designs that they've made, some of their best work usually. You can just click on it and kind of browse to see which designer has done work in the past that is similar to the style that you're trying to get for your brand. So a lot of designers tend to specialize in either really simple styles or really complex styles, very gritty, very natural looking kind of worn designs, very clean designs, all kinds of different things. So you just want to browse these and find the designer that's going to most work for the type of design that you're going for. So that's the first thing you want to do. So let me show you, let's just take a look at one here. One of the other things that you're going to see is the number of stars that they have. So 4.9 in this case, they all have them. And the number of times they've been rated. So obviously designers that have done more work, that have been on the site longer, are going to have more ratings. And you can see what their prices start at. So most of these, or pretty much all of them, start at $5, but some of them do start a little bit higher. So let's just click on one and take a look at what their gig page looks like. So right here is the overview. One of the things that we can see is the number of orders that they have in queue. So right now, this person has 20 orders in queue before they get to yours. Something to keep in mind when you're going to place an order. This either means that if they have a large number of orders in queue, that means they're either very efficient, they're very quick, or we'll just see in just a moment where this might be an issue, where they might just be slow and they just kind of churn out the work as it comes and it's not very good quality. But we'll see that in a second. So here we can just browse them in a slightly higher resolution. We can take a look at the previous work that this designer has done. And we can also see the packages. So we've got them right here on the right-hand side. They have a 20 premium one, a 10 standard one, and a 5 basic one. Each designer is going to have their own pricing scheme, and I'll show you an example of some of the differences. So you can scroll down here to where it says compare packages. And for example, this designer has 3 different basic packages. They have a basic one, which is $5, a standard one, which is $10, and at $25. At $25, they have a premium one. So what do you get? You get the description here. Obviously, each designer is going to put their own description. What they're going to provide, what they're going to offer you is going to be different. So just make sure to read all these once you find a designer who has a style that is similar to what you're looking for. Next thing you do is you compare the packages. And you can see here, for the basic package, for example, typography, no graphics. So you're not going to get any graphics with your design for just $5. If you want graphics, you're going to have to pay $10. And then we can see, for example, that all these come with commercial use, and commercial use just means that if you plan on using what the designer makes to sell it, basically, if that would be commercial use. If you don't have the right to use commercial use, you can get in trouble with the designer because you didn't pay for that. So for all these, even the basic one includes commercial use, but some designers, for their most basic offering, they don't include commercial use. That's an extra that you have to pay for. Just something to watch out if you plan on selling whatever you're going to use the graphic for. So another thing we get here is enhanced detailing. So for example, let's take a look at this. The designer will create eye-catching design, details, including complex graphics or typefaces. So some of these things can be kind of vague. You know, what exactly is a complex graphic? Well, that's up to the designer to decide. So some things that you just want to work out before you actually hire them. You can message them. So you can ask like, okay, I've got this design, or I've got this idea. You know, do I need the enhanced detailing? Is that going to be okay with the basic one? Stuff to work out, because otherwise you might end up needing to upgrade your package or something like that, paying extra, because you know what your definition of one of these things might be different than what the designer thinks. So things to keep in mind. And another thing that's really important is, are you going to get the source file for your design. So with the basic one, you're only going to get a PNG and 300 DPI, which is good for printing, but you're only going to get the PNG, which is the final image, which is fine if you never want to make any changes to it. If you want to change any of the colors, you later decide that maybe, the text, you're going to do something different, you want to modify it, you're not going to be able to do that very easily. And if you give that file, the PNG, to another designer, they're going to probably charge you more because they're going to have to recreate the file from scratch. PNG file is just like a flat image. You're not going to be able to edit it. They can't open it in Illustrator or Photoshop and just easily move things around. They have to recreate the image from scratch, and then they can edit it. So if you ever plan on making any changes, you're going to want the source file, whatever that might be. If it's a PSD file for Photoshop, an AI file for Illustrator, whatever. Next, you're going to see that they offer, one design concept. Some designers are going to let you, they're going to come up with 3 or 2 different design proposals, let you choose, and then work from there. Something to keep in mind if you like to have a lot of options. The number of revisions, this is pretty important because some designers offer unlimited revisions. For example, right here, this one offers unlimited revisions. Now, a lot of these designers put that as a positive thing. Oh, if you don't like the design that I create for you the first time, I can keep on working on it, as long as we have time until you're satisfied with it. But what that tells me personally is that the designer is not going to be able to get it right the first couple of times. And for me, that's a problem because that means we're going to have communication issues, right? Good designers do need a couple of revisions. Nobody's perfect. They're not going to understand your vision the first time, but they don't need unlimited revisions. That just means that they're basically saying, I'm open to redoing the design as many times as it takes because I'm probably not going to get it right the first time. That's the way I interpret it. Some people can interpret that differently, but something to keep in mind. So for example, this designer offers 2 revisions for the standard and basic and for the premium. So there you go. And finally, delivery time. So there's a standard delivery time for each one of these, but a lot of designers will basically let you cut the queue, as it were. See, they've got 20 orders in queue, but they'll let you cut the queue to just one day if you add an extra $10 or an extra $5, depending on the package. So if you need a rush job, if you need something really quick, some of these designers will let you do that. So next we have the description. So this is kind of like a general one. And one thing to keep in mind when you're looking at the description, you want to look for basically broken English or, incorrect grammar, things like that. The reason I mention that is because you're going to have to communicate with the designer and they're going to have to really understand what you want. Otherwise, you're going to have problems with going back and forth and doing all these revisions because they didn't understand you. They don't, if English is not their first language and they're not proficient in it, you might have issues. And at the end, they might, think you want one thing, provide you with that, and you're going to be upset because it's not what you wanted. So just make sure that you don't see any really glaring grammar or any sort of incorrect use of English, basically, because that means that they're not a native English speaker. You're not going to be able to communicate with them easily, and you're going to have problems. So just save yourself some trouble there. Okay, and next, each designer has their own frequently asked questions. So just want to read these to make sure a lot of the designers clear up some of the issues that they've had in the past, especially if they've been on the site for a long time, in the frequently asked questions, right? They tend to get a lot of questions like, what exactly counts as a revision? What am I going to get with this package? If they get a lot of those questions, they're going to generally include them in their frequently asked questions. So check those out. Next, we want to check the reviews. You want to actually filter these because it's set on most recent by default. And we don't even want to look at the positive reviews because they're all the same. They're all, great job, gave me exactly what I wanted. Not very useful. What is useful, however, are the negative reviews, right? Every designer basically is going to have negative reviews. That's not a problem. The problem is, what are the negative reviews about? What are the people complaining about? And most importantly, how did the designer actually answer those complaints? So, for example, we can see, and you can also see some recurring themes. If a designer is late, if a designer has trouble understanding the clients, things like that. So you can just catch that before you even place an order. So let's see here. So here we've got a 2.5-star rating. I understand that there were good intentions, but there were mistakes. At first, he sent me something that was not my order. Then I believe that the designer did not do an effort to justify the price that I paid. Okay. And then the designer, I did my best. I delivered 3 designs. Even the client ordered only 1, but I don't know why he's not satisfied. Okay, so you can see here that this seller is probably not a native English speaker. There might be some communication issues, and that's probably why they're not getting exactly what they ordered for. So here we go, another one. Language barrier, hard to communicate, did not get my revision. So, if you start to see a recurring theme in the reviews, something to watch out for. All right. So I'm going to show you how another designer lays out their page. So here we've got the packages, right? But they might do something like this. They might have one basic package, like this one here, and they'll just go straight to the description of the gig, the job. And what they'll do is actually, everything's kind of like an add-on. So for the $5, you're just going to get the description here. You're going to get a shirt design concept sketch for $5. All right. But if you actually want the source file, you can include that for an extra amount. If you want to add color, if you want to add details, if you want commercial licensing, and as you can see, it quickly starts to add up, and you're going to spend a lot more than $5. You can even add, cut the queue again and shorten the time actually. So each designer has their way of doing it. Just something to check out before you place your order. How they price their gig, and if you think it's worth it, right? If the designer's style fits with what you're looking for, if what you're going to get is within your budget and is what you want. So once you've gone through all these different designers, or a couple of them, and you found ones that fit your style, that have at least, let's say, 4.5 or higher stars, have a couple of reviews, you've checked them out, you've seen that the negative reviews are reasonable things. Designers are people too. They're going to make mistakes every now and then, as long as they try to fix them, or they try to work with the clients to work things out, and the client was just not satisfied. There are always going to be clients that you're just not going to satisfy them no matter what you do. So that's fine, as long as you can see that the designer tried. So once you've done that, you've done your due diligence, as it were, you go to the designer's page, and then you place your order, basically. And you follow the steps, you make sure you just double check that everything's right, you place your order, and you're going to get to a page where it's going to let you communicate with the designer, and that's where you start to work out the nitty-gritty, the details of your design. And you'll also be able to provide them with images, so you can upload any sketches that you might have, or if you're not you can't draw, you're not an illustrator, you can provide them with images that you find on Google that are of similar styles, like what you're looking for. It's always good, especially for designers that are not native English speakers, and even those that are, if you provide them with some reference material. So even if you can't draw, and if you're not a designer, that's fine. Just go on Google and find t-shirts that have a design, a style that's similar to what you're going for, and it's so much easier for them to just see that and get it immediately, like what you're going for, what style you're going for. So once you've placed your order, you basically cross your fingers and you hope that all your work of filtering the designer is going to pay off, and you found a really good designer for a really good price. It's going to give you exactly what you're looking for. So now let's take a look at what the process is like if you use an alternative. For example, say Placeit's t-shirt design templates. Let's take a look at that. If you want to save yourself a lot of time, effort, and money when you're making your t-shirt designs, you have another alternative. Instead of using Fiverr and going through that maze, trying to find the perfect designer that's going to give you the perfect design that you're looking for, and that's to use Placeit's t-shirt design templates. So what does that actually look like? The first thing you do is you go to placeit.net, and on the top left-hand side of the menu bar, under Design Templates, you just click on T-shirt Design Templates. You're going to see all the design templates that are available. So there are a couple of different ones you can choose from. Each one has a ton of different options. I'm just going to choose one here. Let's use this one, right? And on the left-hand side, we're going to have all our different text options. So this is where we edit the lines of text, right? If you were as if we were working in Word or Excel. It's super simple. We don't need to click and drag anything or work with layers or anything complicated. You don't have to be a designer. As long as you can click on little boxes and type your text in, you're good. You can make a professional design. So if you just edit the text here, I'm just going to show you an example. Right? You can click on this little box here below each line of text to edit the font. And there are a ton of different options for each template. Next to that, you can choose the color of that line of text. So you have a bunch of little colors that you can pick from here. You can also click on more if there's a specific color you want to use. You can do that here, clicking and dragging. Really simple. Or you can even put the hex code if you happen to have that. And just click on choose. And as you can see, you get immediate feedback. You can see in the preview all your changes that you're making instantly. That's really a benefit compared to Fiverr, where you have to first explain to the designer what you want, and then they take that and they work on it and they send you a design. So for example, if this is what the designer understood that I asked for, but I ideally didn't want it to be blue, or I didn't want it to be this blue, or I didn't want it to be this font, I would have to explain that to them, send it back, wait for them to get back to my design. And as you saw, some of these designers have several gigs that they're working on at a time. So who knows when they're going to get back to us. To just maybe change it from this color, this blue to this blue. And that would take maybe, a couple of hours, maybe a day, maybe longer, who knows, depending on how much work they have. Whereas in Placeit's design templates, you do it. You just click on it. Instantly you see whether you like it or not. If you don't, you change it back, no problem, right? Just go back and forth all day long until you get the design exactly as you want it. You don't have to wait for anyone to do anything, right? So that's how you edit the text here. And on the right hand side, where we make all our graphic edits, so the color of the graphic, right now we don't have any graphic, we're not seeing one. Let's go ahead and add a bear. So you can use a little search bar here. Let's add this bear. And there are a ton of different graphics to choose from. So you can just scroll endlessly, or you can use the search box to help you. So let's change our bear here to be, let's try black. That's what that looks like. Right. Next, we can change the background color and the pattern, or we can even use an image if we want to. So let me show you what that looks like. Just click on them, preview them. Right. Let's change this to a nice green color here. All right. So we've got its patterns, all these photos that we can use if we want to do that. All kinds of different options. You can even upload your own custom background image or background pattern if you want to, or not use one at all and just click on no image and just use a solid color. You can click on the minus and plus little buttons here to make your design just a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. And we can change the dimensions as well. So all these different edits that you see me doing, they would probably require at least a revision. And who knows, if the designer didn't understood exactly what I wanted, we might take 2 revisions to do just that one little change. With Placeit, you just do it yourself, and you see if you like it or not, or if it's what you want or not. And if it's not, you just change it yourself. It's super easy. So let me change from the default dimensions to the t-shirt dimensions, which is what we're going to need if we want to make a t-shirt. And once we're satisfied with all our changes, we simply click on download. Now, if you happen to have any subscription on Placeit that's active, so for example, let me show you what subscriptions look like here. If I click on pricing, there's a casual, a pro, and a video subscription. If you have any of those active, you get unlimited t-shirt design template downloads. So you can make as many t-shirts as you want using all the t-shirt design templates and download as many as you want. And you're not going to have any extra hidden costs to get the commercial version, so you can actually sell the design, or if you want the designer to actually do it in 2 days instead of 3 days, if you want the source file, all those things that, all those issues that you're going to have with a Fiverr designer, you're not going to have with Placeit, because you can immediately make any edits that you want, see the results. If you like it, download it. If not, keep making edits. And if you have a subscription, make as many t-shirt designs as you want. So that's a super great deal. And if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have a subscription, these are still just $2 each. So compared to Fiverr's cheapest option, which is $5, and that's with all the caveats that we mentioned about Fiverr, it's still cheaper. So either way you look at it, if you don't want to spend a lot of time, money, or effort and have really professional t-shirt design results, just go ahead and use Placeit's t-shirt design templates.